Afternoon, everyone. David Carvalho here with the Diocese of Fall River. So great to join you here today with Jack and Patricia coming from St. Mary's in Norton. Jack, Patricia, how are you both doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Very good. And you?
Good. We're doing well. Spring is starting. So I'm all a fan of the nicer weather here in Massachusetts, not of the pollen, but beggars can't be choosers. As we get going, and we're going to be meeting today and talking today about the great work that Jack and Patricia, as well as St. Mary's and Norton, have been doing the past several months and year as we try to learn how to engage in adult evangelization opportunities in the parish. What does that look like? How do you go about it? But just to simply start us off, Patricia and Jack, do you want to tell us who you are, kind of your history a little bit with St. Mary's and any roles you might have?
Well, I've been a member of the parish for about 10 years, and it is a lively, energetic parish, and it was a joy to take part in the Jesus and the Eucharist series. I have served on the parish council for about 2 years in the past, and I was a second grade teacher for children preparing for First Eucharist for a couple of years. And now I'm on one of the many committees in place to help our parish celebrate its 100th anniversary this year. So my role in that is to be part of the worship committee, which has set up a kickoff mass, and we have some other liturgical events during the year. And then at the end of our centennial year, which is in September, we're having a mass led by the bishop, and former priests and deacons are invited to be in the procession and celebrate as well. So there are a lot of activities going on, but I know most about the worship ones. Jack is the most active member of our parish, I think, so I'll let him tell you what's going on with him.
All right. Hello, Jack Camara. I've been a member of here, St. Mary's, since '88. A little bit about myself. I've been a Knights of Columbus for 40 some odd years. I've been on the parish council for about 4 years. I'm involved in the bingo. I'm involved in the 100th anniversary celebration that we're pursuing. I'm kind of heading up the social aspect of it. It's been a real pleasure. We have a good-sized group of people that are helping out, that volunteered for us, and for the different parts of the anniversary. In the past, we've had a very hard time bringing people together, but at our kickoff luncheon, we had 260, 270 people, which is, in the 30 years I've been here, over 30 years, it's the biggest thing that we've had, other than for outsiders. This is just for us. So it's very, very rewarding, and I think some of it is came off of the Eucharistic Revival that attended. We had about 30 some odd people, and then a second one that we did was a little smaller, but just as good. And I think it's bringing people a little bit together. And that's what we're all about.
That's awesome, Jack. Well, Patricia and Jack, first, thank you for all the work that you've been doing in the parish. And a great deal here to unpack, as parishes and churches are trying to discern, how can we build or engage in better outreach to an adult population? How do we evangelize adults and then create opportunities to first reach those in our parish, to then be able to reach those outside of our parish? What you've done with the Jesus and Eucharist series, now your 100th year, hopefully we'll be giving some great examples to parishes. So on that note, Jack, you're referring to the Jesus and Eucharist series. As part of the National Eucharistic Revival, our diocese engaged in the Jesus and Eucharist series, and parishes began that process. And Patricia, you were a great Eucharistic point person for St. Mary's, and you and Jack and a group of individuals engaged in it. So, maybe as a way to start, can you tell us a little bit about, how that series came together in the parish, and some of the fruits that came from doing it?
Well, thank you, Jack. I think, first of all, we have to say that a big reason for the success of that series is due to the quality of the videos. That was very well put together, and each time I would say, "You're going to love tonight's episode," and then I realized I was saying that every week. So it's very well done, very informative, and very well received. The way we got started, when Judy asked me to be our point person, that's Judy Burgess, who is our pastoral coordinator. I had to look at her title. She wears many hats as well. I asked her to identify some people who would be good table facilitators, because I didn't know a lot of the parish. So she did that and reached out to them. And then we did the training video that you folks provided, and had some discussion about how that might work. And then we advertised it through the bulletin, and enthusiastic mention of it and announcements during Mass. Our pastor and deacons were good about promoting it. And so, as Jack said, we had 25 to 30 people each evening. And we ended the series with a questionnaire asking what worked for them, what they didn't like, what they did like, whether they would prefer small groups that were all men or all women instead of the mixed groups that we had for discussion. The answer to that was a rousing no. They liked the mix. And then one of the questions was, would they recommend that we do it again? And that was a resounding yes. So we did the series again in the fall. And as Jack said, we did our attendance. That series wasn't as robust, but we did have a good turnout and people benefited from it. So that's how we got started. And maybe that would be helpful to others who are looking at this opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Well, one of the biggest things that, as far as promoting it, is that we had a very, very good pastor, priest, Father Joseph Pasala, and deacons. Whether it was when we started, it was Deacon Allen and then Deacon Paul. They were both, all three of them were behind it 110%. And I think that's very important, that make sure that the priests, the deacons, also provide that push that people like to hear. So I think it worked out well. The people, everybody enjoyed it. Everybody, wished it well. Again, one of the other things I continue doing, and I think we need to continue something on my side. You know what I do, a little understanding the faith, which kind of all ties everything together. And again, the priest supports that and pushes for it, and we need that aspect at the Mass, supporting it, and like on the sidelines also.
Yeah, I mean, you've both shared some really great points. And if I can just summarize, I mean, it sounded like the first thing that was extremely helpful is putting a team together. Mm-hmm. That you had a staff member in Judy Burgess who knows the parish, who knows individuals to contact, and that reached out, and that you already had a group before you began advertising. And I mean, I'd want to highlight that that's probably a good portion of why this happened twice is, sometimes we think when we're organizing something, we have to know everything and we have to know everyone. And sometimes we don't, but we know who does know everyone. And so it's really, if a parish is like, how do we get started? It's like, well, who are the people that need to be involved? Who maybe knows the information, who maybe knows other people, who maybe knows is good at connecting people, get them involved. Good communication. I mean, Jack, as you and Patricia both said, I mean, there's really no substitute for Sunday, when you have the most people there, of engaging in a great push. I know, Patricia, at a different point, you had also shared about how not only did Father announce it and that there were signups after each Mass, but the church was really praying together a prayer for Eucharistic Revival every week, leading up to the start of the series. Do you want to maybe comment on that and what effect that kind of had?
Well, it was a prayer. I think the diocese provided it on bookmark forms, and it's reverent and beautiful, and it was well received by the parish. Everybody prayed along, and this would follow an announcement about the Jesus and the Eucharist video series. And so now we are no longer praying that prayer at every Mass, but it's available to pick up a copy for yourself. And Jack has been so good about, when our series ended, with starting his own series of video presentations. He vets them and finds some that are powerful, and then have after the video, there's a discussion. And I think that's been well received. We're hoping to beef up the numbers for that.
Yeah.
So I think everyone is aware of our focus on Eucharistic revival in the parish. Everybody knows that. It's come across in bulletins and messages from the pulpit. So everyone's on board.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I mean, that the fact of prayer being such a central point of communicating, having something ongoing that people can be a part of is pretty key. And that was great as well that, you know, as you were engaging a series, as you concluded it, that you gave an opportunity to kind of pause and evaluate and let people give their input, so that way you could kind of really tailor future efforts to what they desired. So thank you for kind of pointing those out and naming those things: the need for a team, the need for prayer, communication, and the need for evaluation. I think are some pretty practical steps for any parish trying to discern, you know, how do we start, or how do we offer evangelization opportunities for adults, especially if we don't necessarily have some. You know, maybe apart from those things, were there any other things practically you've learned from engaging in the Jesus and Eucharist series twice, but also just in the additional adult formation things that you've offered, Jack, or now, especially as you head into the 100th anniversary for the parish, different items that you're planning to give? You know, what might you have learned practically is needed in order to get some things going in the parish?
Me? Okay. Well, one of the things that we've done, and it kind of boiled over to the 100th anniversary, is we had a town hall meeting, parish town hall meeting, and we're looking for suggestions from the people and what they would like to see done. And we got a pretty good list of things, and a lot of it is a lot of spiritual aspects of learning more and praying more. And so now we have a team that's working on that to provide it. But my point of this is that we need to go out and ask the people. We can't be afraid to, you know, wait for somebody else to do it. We need to be proactive. And I think that's what between the Eucharistic Revival kind of taught us, and now we're continuing it on the 100th anniversary and the questionnaires that we put out and we're receiving back. So there are different things that we are now going to implement and continue with understanding the Eucharist and understanding our faith that we need to push. But we cannot sit back, and this is what I've learned is sometimes people are afraid to ask, people are afraid to, but so sometimes we have to go. And that's one of the things I do in my, if you want to call it my classes, is don't ever be afraid to ask. No matter what you have, no matter what question you have, just ask. If we don't have, the person doesn't have the question, like myself, I'll sure find it with the priest or the deacon or somebody else, you know, and get that answers back. But we need to outreach and ask the people, come and join us.
Very well put. The power of personal invitation, really, there's no substitute for it. You know, it's one thing to announce it at Mass. It's another thing to ask for a sign up. It's another thing to give a phone call. It's another thing to go to someone in person and really invite them. And really, ultimately, all of those are needed in some way, shape, or form. But thanks, Jack, so much for pointing out just the power of necessity of personal invitation. Patricia, anything to add on that piece that you've learned?
Well, this will make you smile, but the one thing we haven't talked about is refreshments. That seemed to be a hit. I provided them for the first series, being reluctant to ask others to contribute to this new event. And it was simple. And then the parish, with help from the Knights of Columbus, allowed us to have an 8th night. And that's when we didn't have a video to share, but that's when we had a light meal And then we passed out the questionnaire and discussed it. And that was very well received. That was very well attended. So for the second series, people started coming up to me and saying, would you like me to bake something? And my response was always, yes, Stop and Shop does all my baking. If you want to do something homemade, bring it on. And people were very generous about that. So it's a minor thing, but it also helped the interaction between people to have a refreshment break in the middle.
Hospitality, thank you so much for naming that, Patricia, as well. I mean, it really is. There's always something in any culture about food and drink that brings people together. And just even if nothing else, helps form community. So thank you so much for naming that. So, really adding into invitation, adding hospitality. And really what I'd be curious now to know as well is, you did the Eucharist series twice. You've been doing some ongoing efforts from there. You've learned from people. You had a town hall. And then, Jack, as you mentioned, then you had 270 people for an initial dinner. Talk about growth, where you're going from an effort with about 30-ish people to 270 people. What a fantastic leap. So maybe talk to us a little bit about, maybe what led to that, and why do you think so many people came to that initial kickoff event at the parish, when, in your words, Jack, you said previously, there was never something so big in the parish in the past few decades?
Yeah, one of the things that we got together, there was a few of us that Judy and myself and a couple of others, Jan Meyer and Anna McReynolds, some of the office people. We just sat down and we said, what do we need to do? And then we opened it up to the parish as far as getting a committee together, and we've got a good dozen people to help with the committee, whether it was decorating, whether it was setting up the hall for tables and stuff like that. Without a group, it's very hard. We've got some really terrific people, and it's just a matter of sitting down, organizing, and getting it straight, and having one major goal, and saying this is what we want. When we first started the meeting, it was like, okay, what should we plan for? Well, let's plan for about 150. And then it just kept going and going and going. Every mass, we'd stand at the door and we'd ask people, we needed to have a count. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we were all blown away because we weren't expecting it. But it's just the core group of volunteers that we had to facilitate the thing. And everybody loved it. Everybody that showed up, they were amazed that if you see our hall, it's not the nicest place, but we decorated it. We had a group doing that, and it's just amazing what people together can do, and that's what showed.
That hall is part gymnasium, part meeting space, part everything. It's the one big place we have here. And I wasn't on the committee, but I have to say, I have never seen that hall look so pretty. They did a wonderful job, and it was full. It was full. So and everyone did love it. It was a great gathering.
I mean, anyone who's ever been to a Catholic school will appreciate the term of a Catholic gymatorium. It's that one space that covers it all. But you bring up a great point where, I mean, Jack, you're really sharing just the importance of team. That's fantastic. The importance of having the right amount of people. But I would like anyone listening to this or watching this to kind of interpret the term of that it looked so pretty as you made it quality. Like, it's one thing to really push for people to come. And Patricia, you kind of noted this previously with the series, was the quality of the video series is we can make a huge push to people, but if what they come to is not worth their time, then they'll learn that. And then sometimes we'll invite them again. You're like, well, the first time wasn't really good quality. And so is that worth my time? So there is definitely a need for ensuring good quality. That if you're going to do a series, you're using good materials, that you're having good hospitality, that you're having a good experience. If you're going to have a dinner, it's going to look great. The food's going to be good. You're going to have adequate volunteers. So kudos to both of you and to the team that you've worked with really on ensuring quality, and that is actually a really important part of putting together opportunities for adults in our parish. I also just want to commend too, I mean, you both shared that you are members of your parish council and how important the role of a parish council is in a parish. To not just be consultative for the pastor, but active in aiding him and in aiding the staff and the life of the parish as well. So kudos to both of you as being active members of the parish council. And if there's any individuals that watch us that are members of parish council, to consider what is your council doing to not just simply advise, but to also do, to kind of lead teams or to create teams around the pastors that these kind of opportunities can exist. It's fantastic. Kind of as we draw our time together a little bit to a close, as you're moving forward into the celebration of 100 years at St. Mary's in Norton, is there any other recommendations that you'd give to parishes looking to start opportunities for adults, or anything else that you are hoping to do coming off the success of 2 series and a great community gathering in your parish?
Me? Yeah. Okay. Well, the main things that we both had agreed on was, first and foremost, you need the support and the push from the parish priest and deacons, if you have a deacon or a priest. I know some churches are really short, but the other thing is, I don't know how many places have done this. How many parishes have done it? If there are some that not, look to the others that have done it, and that's a resource. We can talk to them or whatever. I think once you've done something, that experience is unbelievable. Okay, and I know for myself, I'm more than happy to extend any experiences that I've gone through. So that is very helpful. You guys at the diocese did a wonderful job as far as this, and everybody that's gone through it first or second time, the quality, the message is utmost importance, and it's needed. So that kind of stuff, and you need to get that group together, that core group in the parish, to start, reach out and get and then bring in the rest of the parish. And basically that's, hopefully I'm expressing myself well. I don't know.
No, thank you, Jack. Honestly, no, that's fantastic. Some great closing points. Patricia, anything to add?
Well, Jack and I talked a little bit about choosing topics for, especially for his ongoing videos on Thursday nights now, and small group discussion. And one of the ways to get the topics is to ask the participants at the first couple, okay, what other topics would you like to explore? Jack has suggested a focus on confession and the parts of the Mass and the different colored vestments and the reasons for those. There are lots of things that maybe people don't know or don't know they don't know. And so asking for topics is a good way to go. Also, we do recommend that every parish do the Jesus and the Eucharist series. It's just very well done. In order to fit into the 2-hour timeline, which included seeing part of the video and then breaking up into small groups and then having refreshments and seeing the second part of the video and small group, it took the full 2 hours. And so we had to truncate the parts of the video that we saw. We took out some portions that maybe didn't focus as much on the specific topic that night. We showed as much as we could, and we gave everyone a link to it and told them that if you want to see the whole thing, you can do this at home. I know it's copyrighted, so we were careful to tell people not to put it on YouTube. But thank you for providing that. And if the diocese is interested in providing more series like that, I think they would be well received if they're of that quality.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. And it's a kudos to the National Eucharistic Revival that put that together along with Augustine Institute. So in the description of this video, you'll find, anyone watching, links to the Jesus and Eucharist series. You can learn more if you haven't heard of it. But also links to St. Mary's Parish in Norton to just learn more about what they've been doing and what they've been doing since the creation of this video, and what is going to hopefully be a continued successful 100th anniversary for this parish. On that note, Jack, Patricia, just thank you so much, not only for your time today, being willing to share from your parish for others to learn from, but just your continued work for your parish, and a happy anniversary to St. Mary's of Norton.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for everything you've done for us.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
We're praying for you.
Likewise. Well, thank you both, and thank you to everyone watching.